Patricia O'Connor and Frida Reba Darcy here. Today on the Bonsai Balcony, it is a beautiful Sunday. It is warm. The pool is hopping. The kids are hopping. Frida is hopping and happy to receive her per diem. And I thought we had a little bit of catching up to do on the balcony. Last night, I postponed Saturday Night Live Bonsai because it was not going to happen before 9 o'clock. When I then exhaled and realized I wasn't going to shoot it, but that I would proceed forward, I didn't actually get that video shot, its replacement video shot, 2 hours long. So it was a good thing that wasn't, it's probably a good thing that wasn't a live show that was 2 hours long. That would have truly been even more exhausting. But this is our guy after the fact. Some of its buds are not, its tips are no longer pointed up. As we can see, we'll give them a little bit of time to kind of reorient themselves, and other than that, I've got it kind of turned in, so most of it is not in absolute direct sunlight, but some of it is. You can see back there in the back, and it's pretty much resting comfortably. I also want to do a little bit of catch up. As you recall or may recall, we've been doing some candle cutting, and a couple of weeks ago we started candle cutting. We did a show where we candle cut this guy, and the desired results will be shorter needles because it's in a bonsai pot and its roots are being restricted. I also cut back the roots that were escape roots. The desired results will be what we see there, a cluster meaning more than the one that we cut. Every cut site has now, let's see, focus, has a cluster of buds very predictably where we just cut that guy, where we just made that guy history. Also, we removed the wire from this where it was starting to dig in a little much. This is being a show hen, we don't really need, being a literati, we don't really need help with it fattening up. We want it to be light and lacy, so the wire scars on here I think would be a no. But also just words of wisdom. Those guys got a lot deeper on this Ponderosa, I think, than should have been allowed. No wonder it was weeping. I don't know that doing that necessarily stopped the places where that was happening. The sap has a great feature of sap that it will likely clog a hole on its own just as it slows down and coagulates, and hardens off over a place where it's losing energy. But removing the wire will keep that from continuing to happen as the tree tried to stretch out in between there. So yes, I'm glad we had that show. I was glad we did that. That was a worthwhile venture, and here it is after the fact. And then other than that, this is another example of something. Just this little guy. This is one of our little original order trees. This was one of our orders of 10 that became an order of 9. I remember because I remember that 2 trunks. It was originally a 3 trunk, and they were all 3 that strong. And I lobbed it back to 2. We did the candle cut on this guy. You see, it's not in a bonsai pot. The reason we did a candle cut on this guy is to keep it small and also to get more buds. Get more buds on the end where we want them. As I explained before, another way of getting more buds is by not cutting candles, but you would get more buds sporadically all over the tree, say by just like kind of how we did, when we wrapped that wire around it and pretzeled this guy up really tight. You can see it squeezing out little buds in between the cracks that are now closing up. So that's another thing you can do that causes them to back bud a lot. But when you cut the candles on a tree that's not in refinement, or on a tree that's a pre-bonsai and not in a bonsai pot, it's not necessarily to make the needles shorter, because it's in a pot that is allowing for a lot of roots to grow. That's a lot of energy to store. It will make long needles, even though we've cut the candles on this guy about the same time as we cut the candles on the one that we want to make shorter needles on. The difference being, this has all the room in the world to grow all the roots in the world, to store all the energy it could use this year and next. And that means that even though we cut the candles, I wouldn't expect the needles to be any shorter. What I will expect to stay shorter is the internodes between growth. Also, I expect the energy to stay lower in the tree instead of dying back in the tree and becoming more and more powerful on the ends, which we chopped off. And also, if you see down there, there is 1, 2, this isn't a real count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think 8 buds on the left side. Right in there are 8 buds. And at some point, meaning this fall, we will select that down, those 8, down to 2 that we like on the end that make for a nice matched pair, and that'll be that for this year. The same with this side, although its candle is looking. Oh, I didn't do the candle on that. Did I not do the candle? How did that miss? The same with that side. Need to have a talk with the gardener. You can see where I got it. I'm chopping it right. It looks like it may have came on late. Is that what we're looking at here? Okay. Done and done. So, but the other thing is, anyway, that's why we do this. It helps to keep the tree small. It helps to keep the energy back lower in the tree instead of it becoming taller and becoming more energetic, or sending more of its energy to the top and starting to focus less on the lower parts of the tree. It keeps energy down here, down low, where we eventually want everything, where we want everything to be. And that's also, we get a predictable placement of numerous buds there, for which we can choose down to a couple. That's what it was. Yeah. Wow, that tree is just busting out. Go, baby. Go, little tree, go. So, that's just an example of why that's still beneficial on your pine trees, on your multi-flush pines. In this case, our Japanese black pines that aren't in bonsai pots, but are in pre-bonsai state. So here's a quick look at all of our little ponderosas. I am contemplating chopping this guy back. I think I am. I'm going to do a top chop to this guy down a node. Also, I did a little bit of pruning on the cypress tree. I know that we had talked about pruning or not pruning, but here's what. These guys out here on this end have the advantage of being able to extend out and kind of double dip. They're getting the energy from the overheads, which is more than enough energy to give them the energy to extend out and then get sunlight out there. And because of that, they were starting to crown into this space. So there was kind of two trains of thought. The first one was, I'll just cut them back to where they stop infringing on those ponderosas light, because they don't need to extend off the balcony. They're getting too long on that side. And then the other thought is, no, if you cut them back long, then they'll vibricate off long, and that will be a little counterproductive. So I went through there, and I didn't know which one of those would or would not be keepers in the fall, but I chopped them back as if they were all keepers, so that at least if they vibricate off where I cut them, they'll be split off at a usable spot. I was watching some really cool cypress tree work by Steve at Steve's Backyard Bonsai, and he has a cypress tree forest that is very, very impressive. I just love his work, and I would highly recommend his channel. But he was commenting on how he was hoping it was correct to say that you didn't necessarily have to chop a cypress tree back to a bud site. And I kind of answered back that at some point you can see what I call goosebumps. Tree does that all over. You know, somewhere after the green growth that starts to harden off and turn purple, it comes off, and then before turning brown, it goes this maroon and then brown. You get all of these goosebumps, and every one of those can be a leaf or a branch, and every branch could be a new leader. You see the little leaves, the little fronds coming out of a few of them. I have seen the trees, cypress trees, it seems like maybe I've seen some that got top chopped, or maybe some that got defoliated, freaked out, and just absolutely from bottom all the way to the top, just every single little bump was putting out a shoot, like it was hanging on for dear life or a last gas move or something. And maybe it was just super healthy, but I took that as it looked like emergency measure from a freaked out tree or an in shock tree to me. But you can see, I have seen that before, but this is what I was typically talking about. Every single one of these little things. And, you know, it doesn't matter. It will put out, with growing scaling bark, it will continue to put out branches wherever it sees fit. I kept pruning everything back on this side, and then I was at some point concerned that maybe that if I kept pruning everything back on this side, making sure that everything stayed visible, that I might be kind of shutting off the lifeline that's coming up the tree by keeping all this clean. So that concerned me, and I just decided to make a point not to cut everything back that comes out of here, but to treat it like the rest of the tree, whether it's the front or not. I can always make decisions to cut it back later, but we want to keep energy flowing all the way up the tree, and 360 around is a good way to do that. but I just thought I would take a minute to show that this is my answer to the you don't have to cut back to a bud site, because the tree will just fill up with them. It will make these little goosebumps and then decide to turn a quarter of them into leaves or turn 10% of them into leaves or something, and that'll be that. And then even after it's said and done and you can no longer see that because the bark, it's still going on. If I were to strip the bark off this, it would look like the waxy part in here. So, and underneath that cool, what I call alligator bark, it's still doing that goosebump thing, and it never stops that. So that's long explanation, but you can see those little bumps are just prolific all over the bald cypress tree. They're always getting ready to put out a flush of stuff somewhere, somehow. They're ready. They're always ready. So yeah, that's got that, and that's got that. And I am, oh yeah, if I do that, yeah, no, I'm gonna wait and do this. What I want to do is I want to do a chop on this ponderosa. I want to do it right there. We'll do it on another show, because I have to go in the kitchen, not in the kitchen, but I have to go on last night's set, which is to get my Nip-X. I don't want to cut through copper wire with bonsai scissors. That's exactly what I have Nip-X for. I wasn't ready. But for all other things, I think we were pretty ready. Everybody's looking pretty good. It's a pretty cool day out here on the balcony. Everybody got watered fairly early. It's a little breezy, so we might go through our water fairly early. But like and subscribe if you guys have not already. Our next drop will probably be midweek, like we do. And I appreciate you, and Frida appreciates you, and thank you all so much for watching. Let's go. Boom. Our California coastal oak.